PNRNetworks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNRNetworks. And thanks for your support.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
Do you ever feel like you're normal and the rest of the world has lost its collective mind?
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Do you find people saying this to you a lot?
Are you totally deranged?
Are you looking for a looking glass to pass through?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Or looking for a rabbit hole to fall down?
Who could think of a better punishment, really? Everything's the same here, it's just a little worse.
Guess what?
Life's a bitch. Now so am I.
You found it. Welcome to Platinum Rose's Garden.
Well, hello, my darlings. This is Platinum Rose Lady welcoming you to Platinum Rose's Garden on Sunday, April 22nd, 2018. Well, I hope everybody out there had a good week. My week was all right. You know, this and that and the other thing going on. I do want to bring up something that I brought up on my other show, which I hope you will check out if you happen to be a wrestling aficionado. My other show is called Ring Around the Rosie at ringaroundtherosie.net. This past Monday was a very special day here in the great and glorious state of Massachusetts. It is Patriots Day, which is very important because I get the day off. But that's not the reason that it's important. The reason it's important is because it is also Marathon Monday. It is the day when the great and glorious Boston Marathon is run for all the people who like to do that whole running thing. Which that's, if that's your thing, fantastic. As we often say on this show, you be you and have a great time. I myself, me personally, am not into the whole running thing, simply because nobody needs to see this running. That's not an attractive picture. And I don't run unless something's chasing me. And it has to be something pretty damn big or pretty damn scary for me to run. Most of the time I'd be just like, fine, just kill me, eat me, do whatever you're going to do. Just get it over with and make it quick. But the thing is, now they have the Boston Marathon in April because in April, traditionally, the weather in Boston is pretty, it's pretty good. It's not fantastic, usually, but it's usually good. It's spring, so usually you can rely on the weather being cooperative. Usually. This is New England. So, we have that saying up here, if you don't like the weather, wait 2 minutes, it'll change. Yeah. Well, it didn't change. It was just like the weather people said it was going to be. It sucked. Monday was just rain and rain and more rain and more rain. And did I mention rain? It rained like a motherfucker Monday. It was just just downpour, rain coming down so hard you couldn't see the people running sometimes. And the temperature wasn't, it was kind of like a, damp, and it wasn't like wet rain, like wet, warm rain, you know what I mean? Where it's like really, hot and sticky and squishy out and it's raining. That obviously isn't a good thing either. But I can't picture anything more miserable than, being in the usual running gear that I see people running in, shorts and sneakers and all that, and, the loose tops and things. And you have to run in the rain. I mean, and, every single I'm assuming that every single step you take, your sneakers are getting more and more squishy, and they're probably filling up with water, and it's just cold and miserable. And I was watching this, watching the marathon on TV, and I have to be honest, most of the time I just sit there and I'm like, wow, these people are crazy. This year I was watching it and I was like, damn it, I am so impressed. I'm just watching these people. And that's not even talking about people who have mobility issues, because they have this other section of the marathon that's just for people with mobility issues. And I'm just like, wow. These people in wheelchairs and, these modified wheelchairs and things, so they can, go really quick and stuff. But they have to push them, with their hands, and it's like, they're doing this in the driving friggin' rain. And I'm just like, good grief. They should give everybody a medal. Everybody should just get a medal, because you people are all fucking super soldiers. It's craziness. Obviously, the other thing that you have to talk about when you talk about the Boston Marathon, since it happened, was the attack that occurred at the Boston Marathon, where, people were killed in a bombing, people were maimed, and the city was hurt. I mean, we were hurt as a city, as a state, and we came back from it, because we always come back from it, because we're Boston fucking strong. And the thing that I want to bring up that's really cool, and I know some people are going to be like, what the fuck did you just say? I want to say something really, really that I've never said before. I don't think I ever brought it up, but after the marathon happened, the bombing happened, and everybody was trying to pull together and stuff like that, there was a baseball game held in New York between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Now, everybody, even if you don't watch baseball, knows about the whole Red Sox Yankees thing. We hate each other. I mean, that's a bit strong, but I mean, there's this enormous rivalry between the Red Sox and the Yankees, and some people take it to the extreme and get ridiculous about it, but most people, it's just good-natured back and forth jabbing stuff. After the marathon happened, lots of people in New York put up things on Twitter and put up things on the internet and things that were said at the game, and, the things that they put up on the scoreboards and things at the game talking about Boston and showing New York supports Boston and all this stuff like that. And it made me remember back to 9/11, when New York was dealing with all of the, the terrible things that happened with the Twin Towers and all the people that were killed and all the craziness going on, and Boston reaching out to help out then. So you have this whole sports rivalry between these two teams that have been going on forever. I don't ever remember it not happening, the whole New York Boston thing. And I've been around on this planet for 40 years. So, but I just think that it's really cool that when stuff goes wrong and stuff gets bad, that everybody puts all that crap aside and is like, okay, you're a person and you're hurting, so I'm going to reach out and help you. And I think that that's a cool thing. And I think that's a people thing that I think people tend to forget about. But anyway, just to be back to the whole marathon thing this week, everybody that participated in the marathon, I don't care if you were the person that made it over the finish line and you were dead friggin' last and you made it over the finish line at friggin' 9:30 at night or whatever. You did it. You made it all the way through, and all you people are winners. And you're all amazing, because there is no fucking way I could do that. So you people are all fucking hardcore. And that brings me to the part of the show that I know a lot of people enjoy, and I'm really happy to do it. And this is actually, I think, the first time this has ever happened. So we're going to get right into this week's fanfic of the week. Okay, a couple of episodes back, I brought up this amazing fic that I found out about on Twitter. And I read and made me cry, and I told you guys about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, and you have to read it, and it's so beautiful, even though it made me cry. It's just completely just amazing and awesome and wicked fucking cool. It was this fic called Jam Session, and it was available on the web. It's available at shiny-elffriend.tumblr.com, which is under the title. The title of the page is Everything Shiny Captain Not to Fret. I have no idea what that means, but I do think it's cool. The thing is, the people that were involved with that story have put up another story. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's another story from this group of people, and it's going to be so awesome and amazing, and I know it is. And you know what? It's even better than the first story. And the first story, I was like, how could anything be better than this? But this is actually better, because I was like, oh my gosh, this needs to happen on the show right fucking now, because I can't take it anymore. The fic that I want to bring up this week is called Refugees, A Supernatural Story. It is by Jeannie, who goes by Dean Isn't Fine on Twitter. So, the story of Refugees is oh gosh, it's so beautiful. It's Castiel, who is in Syria, looking for fruit from the tree of life, and thinking about how he has, it's his whole thing about feeling like he needs to atone for the things he's done. He feels like he's failed Jack as the father he's tried to be to him, and him reaching out across time and space and barriers and all that science jazz that I never paid attention to in school, that I feel really bad that I didn't now. And he's reaching out, trying to make contact with Jack, who is still stuck on Apocalypse World. And it is such a beautiful, beautiful story. The artwork is amazing. This story just, oh gosh, this story is there are not enough positive words to say how good this story is. I would have to eat a fucking thesaurus to come up with how many awesome words to say how fucking amazing this story is. I should probably stop saying fucking. But it's just, it's beautiful, it's tender. There's a few funny lines, but for the most part, it just encapsulates. That's a hard word. It encapsulates your heart, and it just makes you want to hug everybody. It does, like, seriously, it makes you want to hug Castiel. Of course, I always want to hug Castiel. It makes me want to hug Jack, which I always want to hug Jack. That is one thing, I swear. Supernatural has actually made me have maternal feelings for a character. And I have about as much maternal feelings usually as your average great white shark. I'm not mother material, but with Jack, I'm always like, I want to hold you and hug you and give you cupcakes and take you to the aquarium and just be awesome to you because you deserve it, you sweet, precious little ball of fluffiness. But I definitely want to hug Jeannie or Jenny, I think it's Jenny actually, because she wrote this incredible story. The artwork with it is tremendous. So please, 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 I want to tack about 800 more pleases onto there. Do yourself a favor and go check out Refugees, A Supernatural Story. You can look it up on Google. Google it that way, or you can look it up on shiny-elffriend, that's one word, ELFRIEND.tumblr.com. And I hope if you do that, and I hope if you read it and leave some positive feedback, and I hope you let this person know you heard about them here again on Platinum Rose's Garden again, because Platinum Rose Lady loves their stuff again. So, after blowing my own horn for a little bit, we're going to get to this week's Supernatural episode recap.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Season 13, Episode 19 of Supernatural, Funeralia. Before we go any further, I would like to bring up what that means, because for the longest time I was like, what the blue fuck does this mean? Because I have no clue. Funeralia is a Latin term. It's a medieval Latin term. It means funeral rites. So, there you are. The then is dealing with the fact that there are a serious lack of angels in heaven due to that stunt Metatron pulled a couple of seasons back. The fact that Rowena, thanks to Sam giving her one of the pages from the grimoire, has unbound her powers. Her powers were originally bound by the coven that she had been thrown out of, and now her powers are unbound. And the fact that Billy, the Reaper Billy, had been killed by Castiel, but because Death was killed by the Winchesters, she is now the new Death. And the fact that we know Gabriel is back and has been a prisoner of Asmodeus, is no longer a prisoner of Asmodeus, has his full power back, and, oh, by the way, incinerated Asmodeus, but turned down the Winchesters' offer, like they asked him to try and, to stay and help with the whole trying to defeat Lucifer and get Jack and Mary back and all that stuff and all these shit with the other universe's Michael. But Gabriel said, no thanks, I'm gonna bounce. And now we are at Now. And Now turns out to be a rather swank looking art gallery in Portland, Oregon, where we see Rowena, who seems to be flanked by this gentleman who looks slightly less intimidating than what would happen if you put a grizzly bear in a suit. And she is on the phone with Sam, Dean, and Castiel, who are calling her, who are on the phone with her there in the Batcave in Kansas. She's talking with them and flirting with Castiel, who she refers to as Tweety Pie, which I just thought that was so awesome. And Castiel kind of got a little blushy there. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I'm not totally sure I'd ship it, but it is awful cute. She says that she's not gonna help them. She's got her own thing that she's doing right now and can't help them at this time. What follows after that is her talking with a woman at the art gallery, and when a certain song plays, she insists that it's her song. She gives the lady her purse to hold while she and the gentleman that's with her, whose name is Bernard, of course it is. Guy looks like he's built out of granite, so his name is Bernard. Yeah, why not? Okay. And so we get Rowena and Bernard having a little tango on the floor. Actually, it was a really nice tango. I mean, I thought it was a really beautiful dance. I never realized Ruth Connell could dance like that. I was like, good grief, she's amazing. The thing is, as she's being spun around and tangoing with Bernard, she says the words to a spell, and the woman holding her purse promptly bursts into flames, which of course causes an enormous amount of, panic, as it does when people, spontaneously combust. Unless you're with my friends who would whip out, marshmallows and make s'mores, because I hang out with a very sick crowd. After the opening credits, we have, Dean and Cass talking about how they need to get Gabriel back so he can try and help them. And neither of them seem to have any ideas about how to do that. Dean's thinking about, just grabbing a beer to try and, his whole thing is, I need a real drink. And, Sam comes in with his computer showing what happened in Oregon. And, the thing, and Dean, who's being a bit of a dick to Sam, I'm sorry, Sam understands what Rowena's going through, obviously, because Rowena's whole thing is that part of her whole thing is that she's trying to protect herself from Lucifer, and Sam, who's been victimized by Lucifer more times than anybody else, I think, in the history of ever, understood that, and that's why he gave her the page from the grimoire, and Dean's being a bit of a dick about it. I know, I just pissed off a fuck ton of Dean girls. I don't care. Come at me, bro. I deserve your hate. I don't care. You don't go after my Sam. Hashtag loyal Samazon. We see Castiel, who goes to he had an idea about going back to heaven to try and get the angels to help. And he shows up at Heaven's Gate, not the movie. And if you remember that, you're old. The playground where Heaven's Gate is, and seems to find it unguarded. As it turns out, the angel that is guarding it seems to be on his way to getting completely hammered, and doesn't, his whole thing is, he even actually says to Castiel that if you want to tell them that we fought, and if you want to actually just flat out stab me to death, that's fine, I don't care. He basically, without saying that Heaven's in deep shit, is pretty much telling Castiel Heaven is in deep, deep shit. So Castiel heads off to Heaven to find out what's going on. He gets to Heaven and walks in to this, the corridor leading to the throne room, and the lights are flickering. There's no one there. Something's obviously very wrong. He's not alone for terribly wrong, though, when Duma and some of the few of the other angels appear, one on either side of her. And Castiel explains what's been going on Earth and the whole thing with Gabriel and all that stuff. And Duma says they might be able to help each other. So we see the guys driving to Oregon. And as they're driving and talking, all of a sudden they have another passenger in the back seat. A woman just pops out of the back. She's in the back seat and basically like, hi, and almost causes them to wreck. Needless to say, the car gets pulled over and guns get drawn. It turns out that she is a Reaper, as actually a Reaper that we've met before. I didn't mention that also in the then part there was also a little bit about Reapers. She is a Reaper named Jessica, who Dean had met in the episode Advanced Thanatology earlier this season. As it turns out, Jessica's been watching them. That Death assigned her to keep an eye on the Winchesters, and when Sam brings up that, like a babysitter, her answer is more like a baby monitor. And Sam gets a little uncomfortable and brings up the fact that apparently she's seen everything they've been doing. Draw your own conclusions on that, and I'm sure that's already spawned at least 250 fanfic. I don't know. She brings up, Sam's impressive collection of hair products. I wouldn't mind doing Sam's hair. I wouldn't mind doing Sam's... Never mind. Moving on. We're over here now. And also bringing up the fact that Dean has a very interesting VHS tape under his bed, which sounds to me like it's some hentai anime. No judging. This is a no judging zone here on Platinum Rose's Garden. The thing is, as it turns out, she's offering to help them. She's been told, like I said, Death told her to keep an eye on the Winchesters and told her to tell them that she's supposed to help them if they ask for help. Because it turns out Rowena's been pretty busy in Oregon because 4 people have died in Oregon before they were supposed to die. And the thing is, Sam's like, no thanks, we don't need your help, and Jessica, disappears. We see Rowena refusing to take the Winchester's latest phone call, and she's in a hotel, looks like a very nice hotel, looking at a picture of a little boy, and she says she's got a plan and that they're not going to stop her from doing it, whatever it is. She's got the plan, now she's got the power, because she's unbound, and she's going to do what she wants to do, whatever it is. So the Winchesters show up at the art gallery, changed in they're wearing their Fed suits and looking delish. The thing is, Sam's doing research on about the woman that was killed, and it turns out that she was a CFO for a pharmaceutical company. Okay. But As it turns out, this pharmaceutical company was in a lot of hot water because they had issued some medicine, but it was mislabeled medicine. So, it was sent out with the wrong labels, and a lot of people took it, and some people got very ill, and some people flat out died. But because this woman had a lot of money, she didn't do any, she wasn't going to see any time in jail or anything. Basically, she bought her way out of, jail time. Dean's whole attitude is, she didn't deserve to die even if she was a rotten person. I'm kind of like, okay, if you say so. I'm pretty sure there's a few people that would disagree with that, Dirty Harry, the Punisher, people like that. Anyway, but the thing is, as the guys are looking over her pile of ashes, the thing is, Dean brings up, okay, that's where she was. Who was that? And as they're looking down, apparently it's something that nobody else notices, or other people are just assuming it's ash blown over from the larger pile of ash. The Winchesters can see the faint outline of another being, and Sam, doing some quick clickety clicks on his computer, finds out that what that is what happens when you destroy a Reaper. So for some reason, not only is Rowena killing people, she's killing the Reapers who come to collect the people. Now that does seem a little bit curious. Dean gets an idea and calls to Jessica. As it turns out, Rowena is killing people, like I said, she's killing people before they're actually due to die, and she's also killing the Reapers that come to collect them. The problem is that what she's doing is screwing up the natural order of things. Jessica brings up the butterfly effect and the whole idea. And for those of you who don't know, even from Dean's remark about it being Ashton's second best movie, I'm assuming he would think his first best movie was Dude, Where's My Car? I don't know. The butterfly effect is the whole idea that one small thing happening on the other side of the world can affect what happens on, even further away. The whole idea is that the motion of a butterfly's wing on one side of the world could be the start of the breeze that sets off a typhoon on the other side of the world. It's the whole idea of for want of a nail. I don't know if any of you remember this from when you were at school. I had to memorize it at school. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of the rider, the war was lost. It's the whole idea that everything affects everything else. Now, you can argue dogma and all that stuff till the cows come home, but that's what they're basically saying. And Jessica's whole thing is if Rowena keeps killing people before they're due to die, that is going to screw up everything else. It screws up when other people are going to die. It screws up the other decisions of the people around the person who's died. And if it keeps happening, the Reapers are basically going to have to hit the reset button. Now, that doesn't sound so bad until Jessica explains what that means in Reaper speak, hitting the reset button. In human speak, that means things like the Black Plague or a war. Basically, it means a whole shit ton of people have to die in order to hit Control-Alt-Delete. Yay, I made a computer remark. My husband will be so proud, because I actually know what that one means. Yay! So obviously this would be a very bad thing. Capital V, capital B, capital T. And she also brings up the whole thing about Rowena, and the fact that something that Dean knows about is that, in the Vale, in the place where death lives, that doesn't sound right. Where death exists, that's not working either. Where death does her work, we'll go with that. There are these notebooks, for lack of a better word, of how someone is going to die, when they're going to die. And, Dean brings up the fact that he's got like a whole shelf full of all these different ways that he could die. Jessica tells them that in Rowena's book, it always ends the same. She's killed by Sam Winchester. And Sam looks really like, I don't want to do that. You can tell Sam's really got a connection with Rowena. I mean, it's not a romantic connection or anything like that, but you definitely feel like these are two people who have been severely hurt by the same individual, looking at you, Lucifer, and they bond over that, I guess, is one way to look at it. So Castiel, needless to say, as I mentioned, is up in heaven and is having to wait and tack 20 or 30 more weights on there. And, as he's waiting around, he's noticing the lights are flickering and it's just, there's something wrong in heaven, and that's never a good thing. Duma comes back and tells Castiel that he needs to bring Gabriel back to heaven. And when Castiel asks for some more angels to help him, if not maybe search for Gabriel or get him back or convince him or whatever, he hears a voice behind him that's very familiar to him. And he turns around and sees who it is. It's Naomi. You remember Naomi, that bitch angel that, tortured Castiel and brainwashed him and almost had him beat the hell out of Dean, have him kill Dean over and over again in these simulations. Hi, Amanda Tapping. Nice to see you again. Love the new hair. Really, I do. I like the new hair on her. Blonde, short cut. I liked it. It looks nice. But I was like, oh, fuck, shit, no, fucking damn it, not her. I have never called an angel the word I was thinking, and I would never do that because that's very bad. But I was like, no. I was happy that even though there was a flicker of fear in Castiel's eyes for a minute, and after what he'd been through, who could blame him, poor little angel muffin? There was more anger to see Naomi than fear, and I was like, yeah! That's the warrior Castiel that I know and want to smooch on. So we find out that what Rowena's been doing, as we see the guys in the car again, she's working through the company. She seems to be killing all of the people who are in the higher up section of this drug company for whatever reason. We don't really know what the reason is yet, except for the man who is the CEO of the company, the guy who's on top, who all of a sudden the Winchesters hear a voice behind them again saying that this man is dying, and, car swerves, oh, hi, Jessica. No, it's not like that. It's more like Dean being like, damn it, don't do that. As Jessica explains to them, the CEO, his soul was already destined for hell, but he's dying now. And we're definitely getting the impression from the way that Jessica's talking that he wasn't supposed to be dying now. And when I mean now, this second, while she's in the back seat with of baby. We cut to this guy's backyard where he's lying on the ground, stabbed. He has a lot of blood leaking out of his gut because apparently Bernard has perforated him with a knife, as Rowena's just sort of casually talking about him. As it turns out, she says that she's waiting for someone and her eyes go that purple blue color. It looks so good on her. It really does. I love it. And she sees the Reaper who has shown up to claim this guy's soul. And the Reaper, needless to say, is kind of like, you can see me. And that's a little disconcerting to the Reaper. And she asks the Reaper if he has a message from his boss, i.e. death. And the Reaper is very dismissive of her and says that, my boss doesn't deal with, basically saying my boss doesn't parlay with witches. That doesn't work out so well for the Reaper or the CFO of the CEO of the company, because both of them, thanks to a word from Rowena, both of them go up in flames. The CEO goes up first, and it looks like the Reaper goes up about a minute afterwards. We come back and we see we see the Winchesters and Jessica. Jessica, who's also been told pretty much by Billy to be hands off. She's not allowed to physically help the Winchesters, but she can tell them stuff, but she can't actually physically help them, touch, anything like that. Clean hands. That's what Death wants. So the Winchesters are there for the after party, for lack of a better word, not the best way to put it, and find out what Rowena's done. Sam winds up getting a call from Rowena, and when it's very obvious that the Winchesters are not going to let her keep doing whatever it is she's doing, she says that she'll text them a message, text them a place to go, and they will, they can meet there. And both of the Winchesters are, smart enough to know this is probably a trap. So we see Rowena getting ready to go and meet with the Winchesters along with Bernard, and she's also packing hex bags in her purse, so that's obviously not a good thing. Or it may not be. We don't know yet. Naomi, up in heaven, Castiel finds out that Naomi faked her death because Metatron had driven that drill of hers into her head. She'd faked her death and needed time to recover, which Castiel refers to rather disparagingly as hiding. I don't entirely blame him. And she explains that heaven is basically losing power because of the lack of angels, that angels are like batteries. Now, it's not plugged in like the Matrix, I don't think. But, the whole thing is that because of the loss of angels, heaven is losing power. And she lets Castiel in on the jaw-dropping, oh, fuck, that's really bad news, that currently, right now in heaven, there are 9 angels. 9. That number between 8 and 10, that number, and a couple of angels on earth. Obviously, this is a bad thing, because as it turns out, the angels that are in heaven can't leave because they need to get Gabriel back, or basically what's going to happen to heaven is that heaven is going to crumble or die, or however you want to word it. Now, why that's a bad thing, besides the obvious, bad part of the whole idea of heaven falling apart, is what's going to happen to all of the souls that are currently in heaven. They're all going to come crashing back down to earth as spirits and ghosts and all of that. Now think about that for a minute. Just sit back and think about that. Think about how many people are on earth right now. There's maybe 7 billion or something like that. I don't know. I should probably keep track of that, but I don't. But it's in the billions. Right. Okay. That's a lot of people. Now think about how many people have died since the beginning of the world. Now, let's assume, this is math, I know, so obviously I'm going to screw this up, but let's assume for a minute, out of all those people that have died since time immemorial, let's assume for a second that 80% of the people who have died went to heaven. And now let's picture what happens if there's no more heaven and all of those souls come crashing down to earth as ghosts and spirits who probably won't be very pleased. Good luck sleeping tonight thinking about that. I'm going to need a stiff drink and a hug, because that's really obviously very bad. We cut to the bar where Rowena is meeting the Winchesters, and she basically tells them that she's killing these people because they're bad people. You know, what she's doing for justice, because these people, you know, killed people with their greed and their arrogance, and then weren't, you know, people with enough intestinal fortitude to stand up and take their punishment. They bought their way out of punishment, so Rowena's punishing them by killing them. Like I said, I mean, and then, you know, Sam and Dean are kind of like, you can't keep doing this, and I'm kind of like, works for the Punisher, but, you know, I guess it's different when you're a guy. I don't know. The thing is, what she's trying to do when it comes to with the Reapers is she's trying to get Death's attention. And as it turns out, the reason she's trying to get Death's attention is because she wants her son back. She wants Fergus back. She doesn't refer to him as Crowley, she refers to him as Fergus. And because she feels like she let him down, you know, she wasn't the mother that he deserved, and she wants Death to give her back her son so she can give him a chance at a good life, or give him a chance to start his life over again and be a good person, because he has the chance to be a good person. She says he deserved better from the world, from me. And Dean's response is, well, Crowley's dead. There's no coming back from that. Her answer is, oh, is that so, Dean? Are only Winchesters allowed to come back from the dead? The rest of us just have to accept it? I don't think so. I'm putting Death on notice. And Rowena makes it very clear from her voice, she's not taking, like, okay, we're going to let you do that. The only thing she's going to accept from Sam and Dean is, okay, fine, have fun with that. She's not going to accept, we have to stop you. Although Sam's really trying to, you know, do this without any bloodshed or any issues or anything like that. And when he goes to clap some, I'm assuming, witch-proof handcuffs on him, because she knows they've got witch-killing bullets, his hand and the cuffs go right through her. As it turns out, Rowena's not there. Well, she is there, but she's over at the bar with Bernard. The person who's been sitting there talking to Sam and Dean, yeah, that's an astral projection. And Rowena and Bernard promptly book it out the door. The Winchesters give chase, with Sam running after Rowena, and Bernard stays back until Dean comes through the doorway and almost takes his fucking head off with a clothesline that looks like it should have been in the WWE. I mean, I was like, holy crap, somebody sign this guy up. We should have him fight Brock Lesnar so Roman Reigns doesn't keep getting beat up. Love you, Roman, call me. What follows is an absolutely insane, vicious, incredibly physical, and why is this turning me on fight between Bernard and Dean, where we find out that Dean, who tries to reach Bernard by being like, you know, she's got you under a spell and all this stuff, with that being the whole like snap out of it man kind of thing. As it turns out, no, that's not true. Bernard knows she's a witch and knows that she's smoking hot and she's paying him a lot of money. He's doing this of his own free will. Isn't that nice? Rowena didn't have to enspell him or anything. Good for her. That's a step in the right direction. Kind of. The fight, as I mentioned, the fight that follows with Jessica sort of standing by like, no, wait, sorry, I can't do anything, is a really fucking nasty fight. which at one point it doesn't even get stopped, it doesn't even get paused by the fact that the elevator opens up and this hipster couple is standing there watching these two men kill each other, and then they just press the button and shut the elevator doors. I'm like, thanks a lot. Really fucking helpful there. I mean, it could have been worse. They could have been standing there taking pictures going, this is so going on YouTube. But, anyway. The fight ends with Bernard getting choked out by Dean. As I said, it was an extremely nasty fight. Outside, Sam's chasing after Rowena, yelling for her to stop, and he's got his gun out. He's like pleading with her not to do this and to just, quit it, just stop. But she basically tells him, you're gonna have, her whole thing is, he's gonna have to kill her. And Sam, with this look on his face like, oh, I don't want to fucking do this, shoots. And then we see this look of shock on his face, and the camera pans over to what he's looking at. What he's looking at is Rowena, who has turned around and is facing him, and her eyes are glowing that fantastic color again, and the bullet's hanging there in the air, and it just goes plop. Like Neo in the Matrix movies, although I have to say that Ruth Connell is prettier than Keanu Reeves. Sorry, Keanu! Sorry. Rowena's really not happy with Sam. She's really like, she's hurt that Sam would have shot her, and winds up, uses her magic to get closer to Sam and knocks him out with what looks to be a sleeping spell or, something like that. As I said, Dean chokes Bernard out and, runs outside, finds Sam's gun, no Sam, and is really mega friggin' pissed off. Sam comes to, he's in a chair in this hotel room of Rowena's, and surprise, can't move. Rowena's getting stuff ready for some kind of a spell. She tells Sam that what she wants, for no other, there's no other way to word it, she wants redemption. And maybe getting her son back. Maybe she considers that redemption or something. I don't know. Or at least part of it. She says that she knows that she's going to have to kill Sam so that she can't die. Or that she won't die. And Sam's begging and pleading with her not to do this. And she casts this spell, whatever it is. Well, whatever it is obviously involves slamming into Sam's anti-possession tattoo. It doesn't look like it damaged it or broke it or anything like that, but he's not feeling very well. He screams in pain, and there's death. And Rowena threatens to kill Sam to get Death to bring back her son. And Death is basically like, go ahead. I mean, is anybody surprised that happened? I wasn't. I mean, it was basically, stop, wait, come back from Willy Wonka, that kind of a thing. But she was, Death's basically like, she said she was curious to see what would happen. And Rowena just loses her shit. I mean, basically screaming that taking her son away like that, it wasn't fair. And she lashes out with an enormous amount of power at Death. I mean, unloads. And it does nothing. I mean, Death doesn't even have a hair out of place or any part of her outfit looking even the slightest bit mussed. And I have to say, Lisa Berry, who is always amazing and gorgeous and beautiful, just completely kicks ass as Death. I mean, I realize that is such a strange way to put it. I mean, Lisa's so beautiful anyway, but just as Death, she's even more beautiful. It's just, I don't get it. It's weird. It's a very weird situation, but it's a weird show. So what are you going to do? She also tells Rowena that she knew Rowena wouldn't kill Sam. And when Rowena asks well, not asks Death, but she's kind of resigned herself to the idea that Death's going to take her now, and Death tells her, no, she's not going to take her. She knows how she's going to die, and by whom. Dean bursts in looking for his brother, and Jessica kind of trailing behind him. And Death looks at Dean and kind of smiles and says, see you again soon, and disappears along with Jessica. We cut after commercial, we come back and we are on Earth again at the place where the gate of heaven is, the playground. And Naomi has come back with Castiel long enough to bring him back, I guess, and tells Castiel that he needs to find Gabriel, and that until they get more power, that heaven's gates are going to be closed. And I don't know if that means to angels, or if that means to the souls of people who die. You know, I'm like, what does that mean? Where are you going? And she just heads back up to heaven, and Castiel looks utterly, utterly brokenhearted. I mean, just the look on his face, I just wanted to hug him so hard. Back at the hotel room, Rowena says that she feels weaker, and she and Sam and Dean talk about the choices that people make, and how they don't always work out the way they want, the way that they want them to. And she's talking about her son, and Sam says, and what happened with Crowley, that wasn't your fault. Rowena's response to that is, he never had a chance. Dean answers, he made his choices, just like we all do. Look, every one of us has done something that we have to live with, that we're trying to make up for. Every one of us. And if there's anybody who knows that more than Sam and Dean, I don't know who it would be. Although they both feel like they have to make up for things, and I don't feel like they have to make up for. And the thing is, when she asks Sam and Dean if they think that she can be redeemed, Dean's the first one that says yes. Sam says yes too. And I think that meant a lot to her. I know I was like, oh. I mean, I was just like, I love you guys. I love you guys so much. And not just in a physical, lust-driven way. I mean, I love you because you're good men. You're actual good men. They wind up telling her what they're doing, and, the whole thing about Lucifer being back, to which Rowena's, she's just basically like, yeah, she's not surprised at that. And Dean asks if she's gonna, fall apart, and she says that she's scared. She admits it. There's no point to it. There's no point to, putting on a brave face. She admits she was afraid. And she says, Lucifer isn't the one who's going to kill me, is he? Sam's response is, you changed other people's fates. Maybe we can change yours. And Dean says, so, what do you say? You in? And the in being, searching for Gabriel, bringing back Mary and Jack, stopping Apocalypse verse Michael, the whole thing. And the camera pans over to Rowena's face, and the episode fades to black. And we don't know her answer, but I would like to think that her answer is yes. At least I hope it is, because I want Ruthie to be around, because I love her. I think she's awesome. And Funeralia gets 4.5 bouquets from me. As always, the guys, Jared and Jensen, are always just so friggin' amazing. Everyone in this episode was just fantastic. Ruth Connell, as I've mentioned, I just adore you. Lisa Berry is beautiful and classy and just a wonderful actress. And I want to bring up the gentleman that played Bernard. His name is Jason William Day. And Jason has actually been on Supernatural before. He was in the episode from season 10, the episode 9 episode, the episode 9 from season 10, The Things We Left Behind. He was a hench weasel in that episode. Jason is frightening. I mean, the guy is built like he's, built out of solid granite. And I liked him a lot. I'm like, I want to see him again. I hope if we keep Rowena around, which I definitely hope we do, I really hope we see Bernard again, because I like Bernard. I don't know why. I just like him. He cracks me up. The look on Misha Collins' face at the end with Castiel when he comes back from heaven finding out what's going on. Oh, man. It amazes me how Misha Collins can break my heart with a look, with just a look. He's so beautiful and so sad and just tore me to bits. Amanda Tapping, as I mentioned, I'm glad to see you back as Naomi, even though I hated your character before and I still don't trust your character now. Also, it was nice to see Kayla Stanton, Kayla, as Jessica. It was nice to see her back. I wonder if we're going to see Jessica around, since she was one of the only Reapers that actually made it through this episode. So that was nice. It's really weird how Supernatural has changed me as a person. It's very strange. Like I mentioned earlier on, the maternal feelings that I've wound up having for Jack it's a very weird thing for me. It feels odd. It feels right, but it does feel odd. And the fact that there are characters that I know are evil and I know are bad and I know probably will stab us in the back, but when something bad happens to them, I mean, I was really upset when Crowley died. And watching Rowena and watching the things that she's done and are doing and is doing as a character, I feel bad for her. I feel really badly for her. And I have this awful feeling that Rowena, the character, would slap me for showing her pity. But I do. I feel bad for her. And I also feel like she's the kind of person I'd be like, hey, you've been through some shit. You want to go get some drinks? Just like talk about shit. I'm not going to judge you if, you just want to talk about shit and let it all out and just, want to have somebody to listen to. People tell me I'm a good listener and people talk to me about stuff. Oftentimes about stuff I don't want to know. But it's, I don't know why. I just have one of those faces that people trust. Anyway, moving forward, we're over here now. And now is dealing with this coming week's episode of Supernatural. Oh man, we're down to the wire, folks. This is Unfinished Business is the name of the upcoming episode, and we know that Gabriel is going to be back in this episode and that he is looking for revenge on the pagan gods who sold him out and sold him to Asmodeus, and he wants some help from Sam and Dean to get that done. So that's definitely going to be something to look forward to, because Gabriel coming back is always something to look forward to. And Gabriel meeting Rowena, and I have a feeling it's going to happen sooner or later. Duck. Everybody just duck. Okay, cats and kittens, that's going to wrap up my show for this week, but I would like to talk to you guys about ways that you can help out with spreading the word about Platinum Rose's Garden if you are so inclined. If you like my show, please like, share, and subscribe with all of the buttons and all the internety things that are on the page where this show is broadcast from, because I don't understand any of that computer-y stuff, because that's my guy's job. He's the technical whiz. I'm just the cute one. And I hope you will check out the other things that I do on the internet if you're into that sort of thing. You can follow me over on Twitter. I am Platinum Rose Lady at twitter.com. You can check me out over there. I'm on Twitter a lot, do lots of stuff over there. If you would like to read any of my fan fiction, I have some stuff available over at fanfiction.net. You can look me up under Platinum Rose Lady in the author search. You can also find some of my stuff over on an archive of our own at anarchiveofourown.net, or org, I think, actually. You can find me over there as well. And you can find me and the other shows that are part of our wacky little family. As I mentioned, I have another podcast that's just a solo show, Ring Around the Rosie, which is me nattering on about wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan for about 30 plus years. Holy crap. And you can find out what I think about what's going on in the worlds of wrestling over at ringaroundtherosie.net. It is also not safe for work. Yay, First Amendment. And you can check out Subject Cinema, which is the movie podcast that TC and I do. It's a lot of fun, and we talk about movies and do movie reviews and news and all kinds of crazy fun things like that. We have Front Row 5 and 10, which is our list show where we talk about like a list of, 10 things or 2 lists of 5 things. It's a lot of fun over there as well. And TC has some solo shows that he does, including Catastrophe Vortex, which is his disaster movie show. He is a disaster movie junkie. So if you happen to like movies about stuff that falls down, breaks, falls apart, or goes boom, you can check out his show. You can also check out Tuesday Digidex and 3 Day Weekend, which are his shows that are talking about new movie releases, in theaters, on demand, new DVDs coming out, so you know where to spend your money and get your money's worth when it comes to entertainment stuff. And he's also doing something very cool right now. I'd really like you to check it out if you are a fan of the EuroVision Song Contest. Now, for those of you in America who are going, what the hell did she just say? The EuroVision Song Contest is this song contest. I know, give yourself a pat on the back. It's been going on in Europe since, I think, the 40s or at least the 50s. And it's this big contest that they have where they have these songwriters write music and people go up and sing their songs. It's not like American Idol or anything like that where it's about the singer. It's about the songwriter. I mean, the singer is important, but it's more about who wrote the song and what the song is about and all that kind of jazz like that. He's been watching this for a couple of years since they've started airing the finals on Logo, and he instantly got sucked into it because he is a movie person and he is into all kinds of cheesy stuff like that. I mean, basically, I have my own slogan for the Eurovision Song Awards: come for the cheese, stay for the earworms. And he's doing this project right now where he is looking back at songs that have won Eurovision over the years and all kinds of other crazy things like that. He's put a lot of work into it, and I hope you can check it out, and hopefully he'll put the information for the website in with this stuff because I haven't told him about it, so this is a total surprise. Hi, hon! Also, we have other shows that are part of our demented little family. Those would include Cave Babble with Eric and Valerie, the Lion family, and their kids and grandkids and pets and mailmen and meter readers and whoever else they can get to be part of the show. And there is Comic Grotto with Aunt Bee and Pee-wee, 2 guys that love talking about comics and are knowledgeable and fun. And we all got together and did this amazing thing. This was a brainchild of TC's. It's really, really super wicked cool. It's a production that we did called Manhattan Hammerdown. It was done for the 10-year anniversary of the release of the film Cloverfield. It is looking around at what else was going on in New York and surrounding areas when the monster hit land. It's a dramatic reading that we were all involved with. It was a total labor of love and a complete blast to do. And you can Google it by going to, go to Google and look up Manhattan Hammerdown. And I hope you will give it a listen. So, that is wrapping up another show for this week. If you have any questions, comments, queries, complaints, chocolate, Jared Padalecki's phone number, anything like that. No, I'm just kidding about that last one. We frown on stalking here on Platinum Rose's Garden. If you want to send me anything, send it to platinumroselle@yahoo.com. Put PRG in the header, and I will know that you want me to read it on the air, and I will be more than happy to do so. So, as the month of April starts winding down and we head into the month of May and 4 more episodes left of season 13, which we know Supernatural has wrapped up for the season. And thank you so much to Supernatural's cast and crew for all you do. We love you guys. I'll be back next week with another show. This is Platinum Rose Lady signing off and reminding you to love the ones you hug the ones you love, and take some time to stop and smell the roses. Bye, guys.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNRNetworks.